I'm Mitchell Henry.
And I'm Rebecca Henry, and this is Clint.
And we're Outstanding Young Farm Family Finalists from Lawrence County. I just love being out in God's creation. It's just in my blood, you know, I've got it on both sides.
Originally from Montgomery County, where his father's family farms, Mitchell is now running Hardin Farms, where his mom grew up.
My great-grandfather bought this property in 1939, but my grandfather, I guess you could say, really made it the farm that it is today. Currently, it's a backgrounding operation for beef cattle. I would come up here in the summers, and I just loved it up here. I think I was somewhere around 16 when he kind of said, well, it looks like, you know, you might be the one to come back and run the farm if you want it. You know, it's yours.
I told Mitchell if he wanted to come back and take it over, he could. And he decided he wanted to. So it's been a big blessing to have Mitchell here, to have him taking over what you worked for all these years, you know.
From a farm family in Madison County, Rebecca met Mitchell in college.
Mitchell and I met through the Auburn Christian Student Center at Auburn Church of Christ. So my parents met there and his parents met there as well. So kind of carrying on that little legacy.
She didn't really pay attention to me at first. I was gung-ho about her, but eventually got her to pay attention to me. And so we got married in 2018, and we just recently had our first child this past March.
Named Clinton James, their son is carrying on another legacy.
Clinton is the name of the original Hardin farmer, and James is the name of the original Henry farmer.
When they name him after you, it feels really great.
Just watching him hold them and, you know, knowing that he was born and raised here and that this Clinton is going to be born and raised here, it's just a really neat thing to watch.
Baby Clint is proof you're never too young to farm.
Clint's first time on the tractor, he was 2 weeks old. So I bought a t-shirt that has a pocket on it for Mitchell, and so Mitchell just slipped him down in that little pocket and he went to bale hay. So Clint has definitely got an early start, and he's fed some cattle as well.
While Rebecca balances farm and family with being a pharmacist in Cortland, Mitchell focuses on animal health for their commercial herd and their brood cows. And he's improving the nearly century-old farm.
I'm expanding and growing. Recently built a new pole barn. The old mule barn is currently the shop, so we needed something with a little bit more space as these tractors and equipment get bigger.
Mitchell is just amazing in how he genuinely loves it. He's better at seeing a vision and making it happen and sticking with it. I guess that means he's a little more stubborn than me, I'm not really sure. But he's definitely more patient than I am.
I don't know what I would do without Rebecca. You know, things can get hard on the farm, and you've got to have somebody to be there for you when times get tough. And so, you know, I just wouldn't trade her for anything.
Day in and day out, the work of Hardin Farms is truly a family affair from one generation to the next.
Operation like this has got a lot of things to learn. One business staying down from the other, and he's been learning that for the last few years, and he's at the point now where he can do it without me now.
There's really no good way to learn unless it's from your predecessor. In this case, you know, it was my grandfather, which I learned a lot from my dad and my other uncles. You just can't beat the wealth of knowledge that comes with that.
I'm Whit Lovelady.
And I'm Amanda, and these are our children, Anna Grace and John Luke.
And we're Outstanding Young Farm Family Finalists from Talladega County.
When we first started, Whit had bought 10 bred mama cows, and we had 11 calves that year because we had one that had a set of twins. So that was like, you know, really exciting for us.
That was in 2013 after Whit graduated from Auburn and came back home.
Well, I used to always say I wanted to be a full-time cattle farmer. And I remember my granddaddy saying, son, you just think you do.
When Whit was a year old, health issues forced his granddad to sell the majority of his cattle herd, and the family land started growing over.
I would say 12, 15 years of grown up, 10-inch trees. Amanda and I bought it, self-financed it through my granddad. Everything needed to be rebuilt.
Whit and Amanda married in July 2015. Both full-time ag teachers, they devoted summers to the farm.
We didn't have anything but, open top tractor and a chainsaw, and he saw what needed to be done, and so he got the chainsaw and started clearing it. And that is who Whit is. He does not let a challenge stop him.
We cleared, our goal was 30 acres a year. It's been 10 years, it's just now good. And I always just wish that my granddad, I could have been older enough to when he got out, I could have took over.
That wish was so strong, it was part of Whit's motivation for helping another longtime farmer.
We couldn't look after our cattle and couldn't raise them anymore. And the next thing we all knew is they had made an opportunity to purchase all of our cattle and lease our land.
Well, if you would have told me that we were going to be in the registered Charolais business 10 years ago, I would have thought you were crazy.
We were not used to a registered Charolais herd, so we're like, okay, I think you're supposed to weigh the cows or something when they're born. And we had Mr. Wallace, kind of telling us a little bit about, his herd, and we soaked up as much as we can from him.
The whole operation would have fallen apart if it hadn't worked out this way.
Between registered Charolais and Black Angus, plus a commercial herd, the Loveladies keep 300 head of cattle. Their 1,200 leased and owned acres are split between pastures and hayfields.
This year is the first time I feel like that we have the equipment we need to take on the amount of hay that we're actually going to cut. And that's a big accomplishment to me.
Since taking over the Charolais herd and having 2 children, Whit and Amanda both work full-time on the farm.
It drives her nuts a lot of times when you get home at 9 o'clock for, multiple nights of the week. But it also takes a special person to be able to stay with me, because she's seen her dad do it, as a full-time farmer.
Him and I, we share the same goals. I want to know as much as, he knows, but I can't do what he does. Like, he has got the vision and the work ethic.
This farm won't run without Amanda, and I'm very proud of that. She does stay home full-time with the children on this farm, but they're on the Ranger checking cows. Amanda has hauled a lot of hay with both of the kids in the truck in car seats because we didn't have a babysitter.
Working together to get the job done and establish the farm for the next generation.
It hasn't been easy either, it's been a lot of sweat, blood, tears. We're very thankful to be where we are today.
The biggest goal is that if John Luke or Anna Grace would like to come home and be able to farm full-time, we have a place for them to do that. We might not be able to reap all the benefits, but that's not what we're here for. We are the generation of builders.
I am Brady Peak, and this is my wife, Anna.
And we are the Outstanding Young Farm Family Finalists for Limestone County.
I've got it bad. As I said, there's nothing more in life that I've ever wanted to do than farm.
Brady's dreams to become the 5th generation in his family to farm faced challenges. Like when his dad decided to stop farming so he could focus on the family's equipment business. Brady was 12.
By the time he was 16, we was riding down the road one day and he said, well, we'll talk. And that scares you. And he said, I want to farm. So from that time on, he worked hard. He took a full load at Auburn, come in every weekend, and worked yourself to death.
Brady started renting and row cropping family land, but finding more land is another challenge.
Land that is prime for farming is also prime for building factories and subdivisions, things like that. The opportunities of growing our operation and acreage it's just hard to do because the land that's suitable to farm is already being farmed.
He's making it work alongside his wife, Anna.
She's very cool, calm, and collected, and that is not always something that I am because I always call it blowing and a going. And it's just the glue that holds everything together and keeps us pushing on. And she may not be out here driving a tractor every day, but what she brings to the table, in my opinion, a lot of times is a lot greater than that.
Well, when I'm not teaching, it's taking food, it's following him behind a piece of equipment, it's going to get parts, it's running a lot of the errands and things like that that just take time, that he needs to be in the field doing something. So it's just being a helper.
And it's being understanding when farm needs interrupt daily life.
We usually go on vacations about twice a year, but he talks on the phone all the time. That's how it interferes with our vacations. But that's okay. Most of the time, it's either an employee calling asking a question or a friend calling and asking a question about a piece of equipment. He's very handy and he knows what he's talking about. So people call and ask him for advice.
Brady admits he wasn't always so knowledgeable.
When I first started farming, I had no idea about anything. I really knew absolutely teetotally nothing about growing a crop. I thought I knew things, but come to find out I didn't.
But he's learned a lot from other farmers, especially his dad.
You can run good equipment. I'm not saying the newest of everything, but you can run good equipment and it not cost you anything. If you'll just don't get attached to anything.
From an early age, my dad always taught me to the only thing you get attached to is your family. Besides that, don't get attached to anything. Literally everything is for sale. And so we buy, use, and sell. It just allows us to, it has really allowed us to upgrade equipment.
There's even more for Brady and Anna to learn now as they welcome their first child in July, a son, Ridgway.
He ain't found out nothing yet till he starts trying to raise a baby.
I'm excited. I have no expectations because I don't know much about babies. I'm here for the ride. I want him to be a good man, and I want him to work hard and provide for his family, whether that's on this farm or not.
I'm very excited for our kids to grow up on a farm and see the hard work that goes into it and just learn everything that they can about farming from Brady and I.
Farming and raising a family. Dreams do come true.
It's just what I feel like I was placed on this earth to do.